The tariffs are the taxes on imported products. They raise the prices of imports by making consumers pay not only for the products but also for the tariff fees. Tariffs take two forms. Revenue tariffs are imposed to raise money for the governments, but most tariffs, called protectionist tariffs, are meant to discourage particular imports. Did you know that firms which import ironing board covers into the United States pay a 7% tariff on the price of the products? Firms that import women athlete shoes pay a flat rate of 90 cents per pair plus 20% of the product price. Such figures are determined through a complicated process designed to put foreign and domestic firms on competitive footings. A subsidy is a government payment. Now we talk about subsidies. A subsidy is a government payment to help domestic business compete with foreign firms. They are essentially indirect tariffs that lower the prices of domestic goods rather than raise the prices of foreign goods. Many European governments subsidize foreign to help them compete against US grain imports. Quotas and tariffs are imposed for numerous reasons. The US government aids domestic automakers by restricting the number of Japanese cars imported into the United States. National security concern, the United States limits the export of technology, for example, computer and nuclear technology to China. The United States, of course, isn't the only country that uses tariffs and quotas. To protect domestic firms, Italy imposes tariffs and electronics on electronic goods. As a result, Sony costs almost twice as much as it does in the United States. The protectionism debate. In the United States, protectionism, the practice of protecting domestic business at the expense of free market competition, is controversial. Supporters argue that the tariff and quotas protect domestic firms and jobs and shelter new industries until they are able to compete internationally. Well, they contend that such measures are needed to counter steps taken by other nations, but the other advocates by protectionism in the name of national security. A nation, they argue, must be able to produce efficiently goods needed for the survival in case of a war. Thus, the US government requires its Air Force to buy planes only from US manufacturers. Critics cite protectionism as a source of friction between nations. They also charge that it drives up prices by reducing competition. They maintain all the jobs in some industries would be lost as a result of free trade. Jobs in other industries, for example electronics and automobiles, would be created if all nations abandon protectionism tactics. Protectionism sometimes takes on almost comic proportions. Neither Europe nor United States grows bananas, but both European and the US firms buy and sell bananas in foreign markets. Problems recently arose when the European Union quota on bananas imported from Latin America. A market dominated by two US firms, Chiquita and in order to help firms based in the current and former European colonies in the Caribbean to retaliate, the United States imposed a 100% tariff on certain luxury products imported from Europe, including Louis Vuitton handbags, Scottish cashmere sweaters, and Parma ham. Local content laws. Countries including the United States have local content laws, requirement that products sold in a country be at least partly made there. Firms seeking to do business in the country must either invest there directly or take on a domestic partner. In this way, some of the profits from doing a business in a foreign country stay there rather than flow out to another nation. In some cases, the partnership arrangements is optional but wise. In Mexico, for instance, Radio Shack de Mexico is a joint venture owned by Tenny Corps, and they have 49% of the total shares, The same goes to Mexico.